Okay, perfect. So recording is already up and there. And let me see how many people are in. Okay. All right. Is that? Okay. So let us begin without wasting any more time. Right. So again, a very good morning to all of you who are present today for today's webinar. So my name is Amanda and I am a science communicator from Cancer Research Malaysia. So some of you may have probably already attended a few of my webinars before, so you know who I am. So for this month's webinar, our topic is Every Smile Matters and how we are closing the oral cancer screening gap with Senyum Sehat and also MeMoSA. So Senyum Sehat and MeMoSA are actually like two of Cancer Research Malaysia's projects here. And of course, some of you may be aware what MeMoSA is. We've actually covered it quite extensively in our social media or maybe in some of the previous webinars that you've attended. But then you might be wondering, what exactly is Senyum Sehat? So this is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So the thing is that the main focus is that, we're talking about oral cancer and how oral cancer's survival rate is only a 50% chance. But with early detection, it can go up to about 90%. So early detection really, really matters. And however, there's a lot of rural communities and low income communities. You can think of the B40 communities or the indigenous people living in East Malaysia that have limited access to screening. And so that sort of puts them in a worse situation because they can't get screened and then they can't check for any oral cancer symptoms. So for today's webinar, I have invited one of my colleagues, Khayrin. So, Khayrin, you can unmute yourself and just say hi for a bit.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for today.
Yeah, you've been muted there and just sitting there for quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, finally giving you the chance to speak today. So, how are you feeling, Khayrin? It's like all good?
I mean, here at Cancer Research, we just finished a conference this past today in KL, and some of our colleagues are flying into Kuching to continue on. So that's on the scientific and research side. So later on, I'll introduce myself when Amanda picks me up.
Awesome.
Thanks
Yeah, yeah.
again.
We're
Yeah,
everybody's just
a
been
bit
quite
tired, but
busy.
excited to like share. Um,
Yeah, sorry for dragging you in like right
no,
after
don't
the
apologize. I
conference
mean,
has ended. Yeah, it's like it's yeah, so because recently as Karen said, we had the American Association for Cancer Research, coming over, so everyone was quite busy with the conference and such, and as Erin said, some of them have already flew to Kuching this morning. Thankfully Karen doesn't have to go to coaching at all. Yeah, otherwise she wouldn't be here speaking today. So thankfully I was able to book her time, right? So, Karen, so let's get started with the questions that I'm going to ask you today, all right? So first and foremost, maybe tell us a little about yourself and what is your role here at Cancer Research Malaysia. So obviously I know the answer to that. So
yeah.
you'll have to answer to the audience, yeah?
Yeah. So hi everyone. Thank you for coming on. My name is Khairin. I was actually a biomed graduate. I was a GPA scholar. I studied in New Zealand and then I came back during the pandemic era. You'll be probably wondering how did this science kid ended up in a business role. Since I came back during the pandemic era, there wasn't much lab work going on. Everything was on lockdown. Was sharing my CV around, and I was essentially headhunted by a startup, and they needed someone with a science background. And my ex-boss at the time, this was my previous company's, wanted someone who is able to understand science, but they could teach business to me. So
Oh.
essentially, I took up that role, and ever since that, I never left. I was always in business. So now I'm with Cancer Research Malaysia subsidiary. It's called CTSB. So my role essentially is I'm a business analyst. I help the business development department essentially do due diligence and strategize different strategies. And Senyum Sihat is also one of the programs that essentially me and Dr. Lau, my head of department, curated so that we can keep things ongoing and help commercialize some of the projects. So MeMoSA is one of the projects that the digital health team has worked relentlessly on. So the next phase is for our department to take it so that more people like yourselves can have access it.
Mm.
Because right now it's more on the research side. So how can we get this to more people in the public? Because that's the main point. There's no reason to do research and just keep it in the dark and then never see the light of day. That's the
True.
point of what cancer research does. So yeah, so CTSB role, which is the subsidiary of cancer research, is essentially commercializing this project. So there's multiple projects. MeMoSA is one of them. We also do vaccines, oral vaccines, lung cancer vaccines. We focus on genetic counseling and testing services. We're also doing a patient navigation program recently called NORA. I think some of my colleagues here, Amanda and Nicole from the Science Com, probably have talked to you guys about that over the months. So it's essentially my department's job to actually get this, push this out to the public. And essentially, whatever revenue that we gain is actually just to keep cancer research sustaining, because we know that not all the time we'll be given grants. So how to keep ourselves sustainable is essentially what we've created, is being able for you guys to access and use, and at the same time, give us a little bit of funds to keep ourselves going. So that's essentially what I do here and what can CTSB is all about.
Yeah, amazing. So I think you've explained it quite well, Karen, actually. Yeah, so yeah, so definitely as you've already mentioned, it's more towards a commercialization and also the businessy part of Cancer Research Malaysia, because we are first and foremost a NGO. So you can already figure out what sort of hurdles that we have to jump across, so we have to rely on like donations, we have to rely on sponsors and research grants that our scientists have to apply. And just because they apply for it, it doesn't mean that they would get the grant in the first place, the money. So it's sort of like a competition, but again, so since you've already mentioned about a bit about your role, and then you've mentioned just a tiny bit about Senyum Sehat and MeMoSA, so I think in order to understand Senyum Sehat and also MeMoSA better, we have to take it a step back and go to like the main stem of the matter that we're talking about, which is oral cancer, because all of this is regarding oral cancer. So not a lot of Malaysians know that oral cancer is actually quite common, especially among certain ethnics. So, why is oral cancer considered a serious health issue in Malaysia, Karen?
All right, thank you, Amanda. Starting off with the sciences first for you guys.
Yeah.
Um, Oral cancer, if you look at the statistics, the global statistics at least, about 75% of the mortalities by oral cancer is actually in the Asian populations. And if you
Mhm.
zoom in, closer look, in Malaysia specifically, the recent health report by the Ministry of Health, actually, most of the cases that they get of oral cancer is at stage 3 and 4. So you can see here that the number one is about awareness. Probably you guys, this is the first time you're probably listening about oral cancers. You didn't know there was such a thing. You probably think about ulcers and things like that. Not to scare you or anything, but awareness is number one. So people lack awareness. Secondly is behavior. Some people are scared of going to the doctor, or they rather not know before things get worse. And you can see that these are some of the things that slowly contribute to why once you see the doctor and then the doctor diagnoses you at a very, very late stage, you don't really have much time. So a part of the importance of early detection is actually giving you and the doctor more runway for you to like act upon it. So number one is awareness, second is behavior, Thirdly is the essentially the number of specialists that we currently have. So certain areas, underserved regions who have exposure to certain factors, meaning that they choose to quit. It's like a cultural thing that they're actually more predisposed, meaning more likely to have oral cancer. They don't have access to dentists, GPs, and specialists like us in the Kelang Valley, and they don't see why they should travel there because it's too far and it's costly. So the scarcity of the specialists themselves, meaning they're only located in the township areas, is also one thing. And then the other thing is infrastructure and the availability of these clinics being in proximity of these underserved regions is also another. And then you can see that certain states, their geographical structures, meaning rivers and forest trees. An example that we usually use is Sarawak because that's where we did. Our
Yeah.
team actually had to take a boat to actually go to these kampongs and
Yeah.
have the oral screening done. So you can think about from a perspective, if it were you, how would you go about that? What are the priorities? So those type of things people have to pick and choose every day. So that's why they get essentially diagnosed at a late stage or they don't get the help that they need in time. So yeah, that's a couple of factors that contributed to oral cancer essentially in Malaysia.
Yeah, you can definitely see a clear difference between those people that live in rural areas compared to people like me and you and I,
Mhm.
and maybe some of the attendees over here. Because if we had, say, for example, maybe an ulcer or something painful or hurting or something just weird in our mouths, we can just hop into our car and then just drive to the nearest dental clinic and get it checked out. But then, as you've mentioned, you said that there are dental specialists, right? Dental specialists, I think these are just like dentists who specializes in checking for oral cancer because not all dentists can do that, right? I think it
Yeah.
has to be someone who is qualified. So I'm not sure if there is a specific term for that kind of dentist, but let's just call them dental specialists for now. So, as you've said, even if they are mainly centralized in the, like, say, Kuala Lumpur or some other major cities here, like maybe Shah Alam, Puchong, something like that, it would still be easy for us to drive there. Maybe it's just going to take like 40 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on where you live, but we would still have the accessibility in order to get to these places, in order to get to the clinics and get it checked out, and then we'll be fine. But unfortunately, on the other hand, for the people who live in rural areas, I think it's definitely going to be more difficult for them because it's like, say for example, Sarawak, right? We all
Mhm.
know how big Sarawak is. And say, for example, maybe Kuching is over here and then Miri is over here, and then you live like somewhere at the bottom of Sarawak, like somewhere down there, and then you find out that, oh, the only dental clinic, the one of the closest ones that I can get to is like all the way in Kuching. So it's gonna take a very, very long time. Yeah. So like I said, Sarawak is a very, very, very big state. And it's gonna take them hours just to get from their village over to the capital city. So it's just not worth it at all for them, and like you said, they choose to ignore it, or they're just afraid to go see a doctor. And at the end of the day, they're going to get their condition is going to get worse. So that's why you said that a lot of people, when they are finally detected in the rural communities, is already in the late stage towards like stage 3 and stage 4. And of course, we know that when it comes to cancer, your survivability rate, it's going to be a bit lower, compared to the early stages of cancer, oral cancer. Yeah. So at least now we know what exactly are the main factors that can contribute to the late detection for oral cancer symptoms. So we know a bit more about the the issue here of oral cancer here in Malaysia. It is quite common. I think it's the fourth most common, right, Karen? Fourth, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fourth. Yeah, actually, it's
Yeah.
classified under head and neck cancer. So, head and neck cancer is just a very general term to describe the cancers that affect the head and neck region. And oral cancer is considered one of it. So, yeah, I remember the first is like lung cancer, and then there's breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and then there's oral cancer, which is the fourth one. Yeah, so it's actually more common than a lot of Malaysians think it is. Because I've never actually, even personally, I've never heard anybody mentioning about oral cancer until like I joined Cancer Research Malaysia. I was like, oh, is that common? So you probably know it better than I do, Karen. You're probably more aware of it than I am. But yeah, that's actually quite interesting to consider. Yeah, so hopefully the audience today they'll get to know a bit more about this whole oral cancer thing and a bit more about the situation. I mean, it's good to know anyways. So, all right, let's talk about Senyum Sehat.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us a bit more about what this program is and what's its relation to MeMoSA.
So, you guys are aware, if you're not aware of MeMoSA, MeMoSA is essentially an oral cancer screening app that our digital health team created. It was supposed to help the Ministry of Health's personnel on days where they cannot close the clinics to essentially have local community members. We call them healthcare volunteers. We train these people to essentially use the app and take pictures of the mouth, the oral cavity. There's specific sets, specific areas they're supposed to take a picture. These people have been trained. And these pictures get sent to the dental reviewer or the dental specialist. And these are the doctors that are on the townships areas, the one that Madam mentions in the main city. So this could be in the Sarawak General Hospital, all the way to maybe the KL side, some of the hospitals that we work with. So the specialist will take a look at it and then give feedback based on those pictures whether or not this particular patient should be referred to them or the local dentist, or they're actually quite fine. So what happens is the healthcare volunteers will give and assign the community members an appointment card essentially for them to come in, because at the time we were working with the Ministry of Health clinics, so they can just get their appointment cards to those clinics to get themselves checked. So that's essentially how MeMoSA is, what's MeMoSA
Mhm,
all about.
mhm,
The Senyum Sihat is actually a program that we've designed essentially. Now that we've done this in Sarawak successfully, how can we keep on going? How can we continue this and make this a flagship program, a permanent program, if you will, so that it's not just on a project basis, meaning not just for scientific endeavors, it's so that people such as yourself, who's fundraising, who wants to be healthcare volunteers themselves, can join in as our stakeholders to essentially help screen certain areas that are underserved at the moment. So Senyum Sehat is actually a continuation. It's an oral cancer screening program, a continuation of what we've already done in Sarawak. Just now that we want to expand it to more areas because we want more utilization of the app. We don't want it to be just on a research basis. We want this on more communities can access this. Meaning that right now, yes, our science team are focused on certain states.
mhm.
Maybe we don't know. You guys know better of your local community members, or you've actually had people at your areas actually, oh, they've actually had tongue biopsies done because they've been diagnosed of possibly oral cancer and things like that. So this is why the program is here, is so that we have more advocates such as yourself. Maybe you guys will be future advocates to actually let us know and also expand the program so that more people can get screened early. So essentially, that's what Senyum Sihat is all about. I'm using MeMoSA as well to help people.
Okay, that's very nice, very nice. So how I'm just curious, Erin. So how exactly does like both Mimosa and also the Senyum Sehat program it will benefit all of us Malaysians as a whole?
Well, firstly, I want to thank you, fellow Malaysians, because
Yeah.
with the grants are being granted by the government, and you guys have been, it's your hard-earned money that you've invested in the government, and the government invested in us. We want to say thank you for that. We've managed to create such a good app, a good first iteration of the app. That's the first one. Secondly, in terms of benefits, you're talking about accessibilities. You yourself, busy ladies and gents, sometimes you don't want to see the dentist. Some of my family members have white coat syndrome. They're scared of the dentist as well. How can we ease you through this process? So you can think about it of the applications. At the first stage, right now, we're looking at oral cancer. In the future, maybe we can do more general oral health, meaning dental health. So it's a simple, there's no need for you to have a finger prick or anything. It's something that we want you to be able to access. But at the moment, it's not for the public to use. It's based on, because
Mm.
we train
Yeah.
people to understand how the app use, but it's also inside our pipeline to be released to the public soon enough, maybe next year or so. So essentially to help you guys have access to this dentist on the go, essentially. And the earlier you get it detected, the better.
Yes,
This is
obviously.
this is the runway that I've been talking about just now. Yeah, that's some of the benefits I'm thinking about. And then at the same time, on top of just oral health, in general, accessibility, that's just physical accessibility. We were talking about infrastructures and people at different areas to get tribal access. We were also thinking about accessibility to old folks' home or people with physical disabilities. It's not easy for you guys or some of your parents or grandparents to actually travel about when they have a toothache or things like that,
Mm.
or ulcers or
Yes.
something. So this is something that um, we want to talk to your doctors about it so that we can give access to you so that you and the doctor can use the app and follow up, because actually it's not a one-time thing.
Uh,
Once the patient are actually inside the app, we can actually follow up with you. And there's actually a teleconsultation feature as well, where the doctor can actually call you and video call you for
yeah.
monitoring purposes. So that's essentially one of also the benefits of the app itself, and for you to get more accessibilities to the specialist. Yeah, I think that's about some of the applicable positives I'm thinking about.
Very, very interesting because all I'm hearing is like we are using technology and
Yeah.
sort of implementing it into healthcare. I'm sure it's all about, it's huge right now. You know, we have AI, we have Chat GPT, but of course, don't use Chat GPT to diagnose yourself. I don't think that is very highly recommended. So no, but yeah, either way, I think because for our MeMoSA, which is powered by AI, it's a bit special because it's been trained by maybe our scientists and the technicians, whoever is in charge of that. So unfortunately, I'm not part of the team, so I can't comment too much on that. But what I know is that they train the AI to how do you say, classify the oral lesions. So basically, oral lesions are anything weird that pops in your mouth. It could be an ulcer, it could be a red or white patches. So for oral lesions, if I'm not mistaken, some of them are cancerous, some of them are not cancerous, and some of them have the potential to become cancer in the future. And of course, the only way for people to know what's the difference is to get checked out. So thankfully, the AI in MeMoSA, it can actually classify. So if it thinks that, oh, this looks very, very highly suspicious, so it's definitely recommended for you to go and see a dental specialist and get it checked out for real. So it's sort of like how do you say it? It's something like a middle person between the dental specialist and also the patient, right? I think it works like that. So because since we are talking about the rural communities, you know, people who are less fortunate, um again with the transportation issues, the difficulties, and also the money. So if we could actually get them to like you know, just take a simple picture, get a picture of their oral cavity, their mouth taken, and then it's in the phone, so you can see it like as a sort of like a WhatsApp. It's just like you're sending something to your friends, like me. Oh, say for example, I am the patient. I have something weird in my mouth, and Karen is the dental specialist. So all I have to do is like use WhatsApp, just take a picture, and then send it to Karen. So I think it sort of works about something like that. So you all get the idea. Yeah, that's how MeMoSA actually works. It's very convenient. So as I've said, yeah, we are using AI and we're using technology and we're implementing it into our healthcare system. So I think that's where the modern world, where the 21st century is actually heading towards right now. Yeah, I think it's a trend. Yep. So, okay. So, moving on to the next question. So, Karen, are there any plans or goals for Senyum Sehat in the near future? Oh, by the way, you're muted, so take note of that.
Yeah, I know, I was
Okay.
joking. Any plans?
Yeah.
Good question, Amanda. So
Yeah.
we just launched the new set this year. So we're putting out proposals for people to take up on it. So the plan is right now is finding sponsors or stakeholders that are interested to utilize this program. You can think of this essentially either Cancer Research Malaysia, you wanting us to fund us to implement the program, or you yourself would like to take a helm of that program, is also something that we're looking into, because we understand that if you guys aren't aware, cancer research is about only like 100 plus people, and not all of us are working on MeMoSA. Some of them are working on
Yeah.
different research projects. So you can imagine we actually need more help, more people to essentially be advocates for MeMoSA and oral cancer screening, essentially. So the idea is next year is we're targeting at least 10 stakeholders to take up on it.
Oh,
So
I
that,
see.
yeah, different states. So we already started in Sarawak. We want to expand to Sabah as well. We also want some of the programs to be here within the Semenanjung, Malaysia as well, because some of the specialists are already here anyway. So we just need to link up all the communities. So this could be Orang Asli or B40 communities or different
Mm.
couples that don't have access to oral cancer screening is also something that we're looking into. Yeah, on top of that, if some of you guys are actually specialists or you actually know people who are specialists, who want to be our reviewers. So, yes, Amanda, you're talking about the AI, but not everybody's comfortable with the AI. We've actually run a survey,
Mhm.
and some of them, surprisingly, actually, people want half and half. Meaning people want the
Oh,
ability to, maybe on like the first chat, you guys are curious about it, you're okay for the AI to just screen for you. But the complementary step is usually done by the dental specialist itself, just to
yes,
make sure
yes,
you guys are comfortable and us is comfortable also, because not everything is 100% AI. It's not a clinically great product yet at the moment. Until we get there,
yes.
there's always a human a reviewer at the back end, just to let you guys know that, so that we are compliant. It's not just AI doing your screening yourself.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, I completely understand the bit where you said that, oh, some people may not be comfortable
Yeah,
with getting a screen by AI, and
yeah.
who knows in the future that maybe AI will be our doctors. That sounds a bit weird, actually. Yeah, so because we are humans, so I think we expect to interact with other humans. We need like that social interaction. So it kind of feels a bit strange for us to just completely rely on AI. So thank you for clarifying that it's not just like a 100% AI thing. There's
Yeah.
also going to be a dental specialist who, formalizes and, sort of ties the knot up for you.
Yeah.
I guess some people are fine with that. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for clarifying, Erin, but you can continue and say what you need to say.
Yeah, so that's the time. So when I was talking about the dental reviewer side, so if you think that you guys, some of your dental clinics would want to implement this, you want to recommend that, please do reach us out. And then at the same time, we need as much of expertise. Do you want to be a volunteer? We can train you so that you can help people screen. And then at the same time, as dental reviewers, some of you may specialize in dentistry. It's actually like the first leg of the screening process, where a dentist actually looks at your picture, whether or not your ulcer is just a normal thing that if it could be referred to them, or something that they'll refer to the next guy, which is the specialist themselves. So if you guys know any specialists who want to get, we also have reviewing programs up and running. So essentially, long story short, Amanda and all our participants, what we're trying to get at is expansion and adoption. So more people know about it, more people are able to use it, then more people can get screened. So that's essentially where we're targeting at for next year for Senyum Sihat. It's one of the vehicles.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so we have to first, of course, spread awareness, and the more people know about it, and the more they acknowledge that this is important, we have to pay attention to the oral cancer issue here in Malaysia, then there would be some sort of demand for it. And then, that's how we can actually roll out the implementations. At least that's what I am understanding based on what you said, Karen. So feel free to
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong.
It's
Yep.
a part of Amanda's job. She's the science communicator. She's the one who is supposed to help boost your awareness. All of you, actually.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So later I might have to, yeah, I have to start talking about Senyum Sihat as well. Yeah, because everything is all about MeMoSA, MeMoSA, MeMoSA. So I think a lot of, I mean, if you are someone who has been keeping up closely with Cancer Research Malaysia, you probably already have heard of MeMoSA. It's there. It's one of our main projects after all. But yeah, Senyum Sehat is also quite an important bit to MeMoSA. It's sort of like linked together. So yeah, so as I was saying, yes, it's very important to spread awareness in the first place. That's exactly why we're doing these monthly webinars. And so now that you all know a bit about this, so Karen, I have like one last question for you.
Go ahead.
Yes. So, how can ordinary Malaysians help to improve the oral cancer situation here in Malaysia? So,
Um,
not all of us are scientists.
hmm.
Not all of us comes from a science background like you do, and not all of us, we have a science background and then we move into the business module like you do. So, what do you think that normal Malaysians, ordinary Malaysians can do to contribute?
I think the fact that you guys logged in, is one of the first steps, educating yourselves. It
Yeah.
can be the sources could be us from Cancer Research Malaysia themselves, or you can look at other societies, cancer societies. You can read up. All it takes is just reading it up a bit and have some questions, and then that's where you can come to us asking those questions from the experts themselves who's been researching on it, or at least some of the doctors who we've worked with may can provide those answers for you. So awareness, because you don't know what you don't know. Firstly, not everybody knows everything, and at the same time, once you have that knowledge, you can essentially be more aware. If something looks wrong, you've heard of it, somebody had the same presentations, situations like that, then you can act upon it faster. So I think, like you said, awareness, Amanda, that's correct. Knowledge and awareness is the first
Yeah.
step to help in oral cancer screening awareness. Just as breast cancer awareness, you have Pinktober and things like that. The same can be said to oral cancer. We're not here to ask the cancers awareness to be competing against each other. No, it's just
Yes.
additional knowledge for you to know. And essentially, you've some of you guys who have been supporting us. So these are just some of the things that we've already done, utilizing it and getting it more help to more people that's in need. So yeah, hi everyone, saying hello in the chat box.
Yeah, it's
Welcome.
like the webinar is already about like half an hour
Thank
in
you anyways
progress.
for coming in. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
about
awesome.
awareness. And then if we're having any volunteer runs, or when we're looking for volunteers, when we post it up, please have a look at it, see if you can contribute. That's some of the ways that you can help out. At least at that capacity, you can work closer with us and understand a little bit more of what we do, and you can have a conversation with some of our scientists or myself or anybody, even Amanda can be here for certain of the events sometimes. And
Yeah, absolutely.
and yeah, and in the future, we're actually looking into when we do some of our runs, our recently Race Against Cancer, Terry Fox run, we're looking into whether or not it's suitable for us to actually do some of this oral cancer screening. Let us know, guys, if that's something that you guys are interested in. We can actually
Yeah,
put it there, open a booth, and me
absolutely.
myself can help you screen as well. I'm also a trained healthcare volunteer. To be
Yeah, she is. She's really
yeah.
amazing, actually. Yeah. So I've seen Karen actually going around and taking pictures of people's mouths.
Yeah,
Of
I'm
course, it's not.
Leon.
Yes, yes. But yeah, as Karen said, I mean, it's not only restricted. to the science part. I know that Cancer Research Malaysia focuses on research and blah blah blah, but we also want to make it a bit more inclusive to other people who may not be scientists. So even ordinary people like you can contribute and help us with our mission by joining something as simple as fundraising events or even just spreading word of mouth. You could tell your families, you could tell your friends, you could tell whoever you want. And as Karen already mentioned, the first step is already by attending one of our webinars. So, which is, one of it today is just one of the many monthly ones. But it's a great thing that you have all actually taken the initiative to register and be part of this webinar in the first place. Yeah, because it's not like all the time when Karen agrees to do a webinar. I actually had to snatch her up for a bit. Yeah. Yep, so it wasn't easy. Otherwise, she would be on a plane to Kuching or doing some other things. I don't know. Yeah, she's quite busy actually with all the workload. Yeah, because our teams are actually quite small, very, very small. So you can imagine the workload on poor Karen and Dr. Lo Lei Hian, which is another one of our colleagues. So that's that. But yeah, so essentially those are all the questions that I wanted to ask you so far, Karen.
Yeah.
But that's enough questions from me. Now, let's see if anyone from the audience has any questions for you. Okay, I hope
Okay.
you. Okay, yeah. So feel free to ask Karen any questions. So I'm just gonna give you all like maybe 5 to 10, depending on how many questions you all have. So if you have any questions about MeMoSA or Senyum Sehat, or any other questions related to oral cancer, Cancer Research Malaysia, yeah, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box and then we will reply to them. Yeah, so of course the good morning texts we've gotten so far. We're gonna say good morning back to you. I don't think there's much that we can say. Yeah. So any questions so far? Or if you're very clear on what we have discussed today, about oral cancer, MeMoSA, and also the Senyum Sehat program. So, or if you're just curious to know how you can support us, join our fundraising activities, or even think about donating, then yeah, you can drop your questions as well. It all matters. Yeah, there's even someone from Sarawak. So good morning to you, Siti.
Morning, selamat
Hmm.
pagi, Cik Siti.
Yeah, from Sarawak. Yeah, amazing. Sarawak is really, really big though. Who knows where she is from?
Yeah, why in particular, Cik Siti?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you can tell us which city or which town you're from, so that we know. Maybe we have like some sort of mimosa going on right over there. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's all around.
Oh,
Kuching!
Kuching.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, she's from the capital. That's amazing. Yeah, some of our colleagues are going to Kuching today for
Wow.
another conference. I don't know, maybe City could actually see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so seems that everyone is quite clear. I don't think there are any
Yeah.
questions so far, which is good. I think that means we did a good job communicating to these people, Karen.
Oh, okay. All right. Great.
Okay, good. So since we have no questions, I think Karen is actually very, very relieved.
Ah, no, I mean I'm open.
Yeah,
Apa
she's
pun soalan
open.
yang
Yeah.
Cik dan Cik ada, kita dekat sini untuk jawab and clarify anything. Because that's a part of the program
Yeah, I'm
we're
just teasing
doing.
you a bit. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Please, please. I'm very happy. Thank you so much, Amanda, and everyone else.
Yeah,
I'm sure
of
today
course.
this is
So
good.
before we actually conclude, just one last thing. Since people may be wondering, oh, how do I get my e-certificate? I'm sure a lot of you, I'm surprised that no one actually asked about it because I've had a lot of people emailing and asking, oh, Amanda, how do I get the e-certificate? Mana e-certificate bila boleh dapat? And so this is what I'm going to tell you right now. So let me share the That's it. I think you can see it as well, right, Karen? I'm pretty sure you can. So it's one huge thing over here. All right, so this is the process for the webinar e-certificate. It's very simple. So all you have to do is check your inbox tomorrow. So I mean, today is the 12th of November, so 13th November, which is tomorrow. So after today's webinar, you will receive a feedback from us. So all you have to do is just click the link, you fill out your details, and there is one section which asks for the e-certificate, whether you want it or not. If you say yes, then you have to put proof of donation, which is a minimum RM1 donation. You don't have to donate more than that. And if you don't want an e-certificate, then you don't need to make any donations to Cancer Research Malaysia. And then once you fill out the form, then you just sit back and relax because the e-certificate will be sent to you within 30 days. And if you still have any questions, any inquiries, you can actually reach out to us through the email address provided below. Okay, so don't send it to any other email address. It's just gonna go from one place to another. Go to de-comms@cancerresearch.my. So if you want to take a picture of this, just to be sure of the process, go ahead. Because I'm going to stop sharing in a bit just to make sure, because we have to already like conclude the webinar anyways. So just take note of this. It's very, very simple. You just have to sit back and relax and just fill out the form. It's as easy as ABC. Okay, so I think hopefully we're clear on that because I'm going to stop sharing right now.
Amanda, you have
Stop
a
sharing.
question from Miss
Oh,
Rosalind. Yeah, can
okay,
you
wait.
help
So let me
address
stop
that?
sharing
Yeah.
for a bit so that I can get to it. Oh, there is a. Ah, so I think it's for you actually. You're the expert.
There's one in the chat. I think you can ask
Yeah,
Miss Rosalind
I
and then
s-
I'll
there's
do
one
that. Yeah.
from the Q&A box
Yeah.
asking about, to use gargling.
Good morning. Would
Oh,
you better use for gargle with platoon water or
clean.
gargle sold in the market? What is doctor opinion about toothpaste sold by various brands and other sellers claiming that toothpaste can whiten teeth?
Oh,
Oh dear. Miss Fazaya, I'm sorry, apologies. I'm not a doctor, so I cannot answer this question for you because I'm not a medical officer. But what I can do is we can take this question and take it to Dr. Sindhu, part of the digital health team, and maybe we can email her back. Is there a way for us to communicate this to Miss Fazaya, Amanda?
so I think she can actually provide her email, or she can just email us saying that, oh, I'm Faizaya, and I've said this question. So by then we would have her email address, and then we would be able to reply to her. Just said that you attended this webinar and that you have asked this question. So then we will reply to her accordingly over there. Or she can email you.
Yes,
I don't know actually. I think because again, like I said, because we're gonna have to refer to another one of our colleagues about this. So we just have to get Sindhu to reach out to her or something. I'm not sure, but either way, contacts will have to be shared. Yeah, if she really wants this to be answered.
yeah. So sorry, Miss or Mr. Fazaya.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, because
interesting
this one,
question.
yeah, because unfortunately we're not dentists.
Mm.
I'm just a science communicator and Karen is just like a business analyst, she's part of the business team. So
Yeah.
unfortunately we're not qualified to answer such a thing. We can give opinions, but not something like recommendations to that. Yeah, we don't want to be spreading. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I'm sorry about that,
So
Faizaya,
sorry.
but appreciate the question. Okay, so we actually do have another one from Rosalind. So do we get the recorded version or slightly? Okay, so we will be posting recaps on our YouTube page. So you just go to YouTube, look for Cancer Research Malaysia, and then it will soon be uploaded actually. So just keep an eye out on that. I'm not sure when exactly our marketing team would put it up, but just keep an eye out and then you'll be able to see there. And there's also tons of other recordings of previous webinars. So in case you all have missed the previous ones, or you're just curious to learn a bit more about what I talk about with my colleagues or some other science communicators like Vishala, you could go to YouTube and go check it out. So it's all over there. Right. So hopefully that answers your question, Rosalind. Yeah. Okay. So I don't think we actually have we have other. Okay. You're welcome, Rosalind. Okay. So I don't think we have any other questions so far, besides the one asking about dental stuff and also about the recording. So I think we can finally conclude today's webinar. So Karen, thank you so much for agreeing to participate in this webinar. And I hope that the audience has actually managed to learn a lot of things from you. They learned more about oral cancer, MeMoSA, as well as Senyum Sihat, and also why it's so important to spread awareness in the first place. That's the easiest thing that we could do. And of course, thank you everyone else for taking the time to sit down and listen to what Karen and I have to talk about. So that's pretty much it from me. Yeah. So Karen, you've got anything bye-byes to say to them or something?
Thank you so much, guys. It's
Yep.
actually my first one with Amanda this time around. Thank you guys
Yeah.
for tuning in. Hope you learned something. So sorry again, Fazaya, I cannot answer your question. We couldn't answer your question, but please feel free if you're shy, you can just drop an email to the same DE Marcoms. They will give us that questions back to us, and we'll siphon it to the relevant people. Anyways, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care, semua. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, and since it's really almost 12 o'clock, I'm sure people will want to go have their lunch, have something to eat. I'm sure I'm hungry. I'm quite hungry myself. Once again, thank you so much, and hopefully we can see you again in the next webinar. There's also another one coming up later this month, with another colleague of mine, Nicole. It's going to be her first webinar, so make sure to be supportive of her and keep an eye out for social media. We're going to be posting it there. And of course, there's going to be lots more webinars that you can look forward to. We'll be discussing an array of topics. You can pick and choose whichever you like. So I think that's it for then. So thank you very much, and you all have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.